Yo, so you're playing as Switzerland in Victoria 3, and I'm trying to conquer 100 states without getting a coastline. You might know this as the EU4 achievement called Switzerlake, where you're supposed to conquer 99 provinces of Switzerland while owning no ports. But the difference in Victoria 3 is that 100 states is significantly more than 99 provinces in EU4, because a state in Victoria 3, there are 666 of them, whereas EU4 has 3.2 thousand provinces. For this, a coastline means anywhere where I can build a port, or that will let me get interest throughout the whole world. If we look at our interest map mode, you can see that we can't declare interest outside anything that borders our current interests. So if it would let us get an interest, or if it would let us build a port, then it would. We're not counting lakes, of course, because there's literally a lake bordering Switzerland at the start of the game. Although maybe you could make an argument that we should be counting the Caspian Sea. We're not going to be counting that either. I'm not counting subjects in this because I want to build a form Central Europe at the end as a final goal. And there's only 31 inland states for Central Europe, and you need 35 to form it. So we're not going to be counting subjects, or else it's just going to be impossible to form Central Europe. You might think that forming Central Europe is going to force us to annex the people, but if it's an unrecognized country, it actually won't annex it. So we will be able to form Central Europe without having a coastline ever. So there's a couple things that we need to do as Switzerland day one. I'm going to research a tech. We'll go into railways first. Now, if you try to just attack Baden, which seems like the obvious first choice as Switzerland, what you'll have happen around 70% of the time in my tests was Prussia would join against you, which is not good. So instead, we're going to declare on Hohenzollern, which is a Prussian subject, and then we're going to back down. This is going to cost us war reps. Also, we're going to need to swap our government now, or else what is going to happen is that the Prussians are going to request regime change against us, which we don't like, because as Switzerland, we actually have some really good laws. For example, we have parliamentary republic. The reason they won't request regime change with this government is I believe it is too similar to the Prussian government for them to be allowed to do a regime change on us. I think we can see that by looking if we can regime change them, and it says the governments are too ideologically similar. So we're also going to add in a couple of buildings just to build up our country, but we really want to get into another country like Baden as quickly as possible because the Swiss states have some pretty bad penalties. The Alps mountain range gives negative 15% state construction efficiency, which is pretty terrible, although we do get the benefits of the Rhine River, which gives 5% MAPI, so it is not the worst states possible, but definitely some better states to be gotten in Baden, which is on the Rhine River, gets plus 10% logging throughput, has decent resources, and doesn't have to deal with that state construction efficiency debuff. So yeah, I think we can just unpause. I guess we'll go down on gov wages. And Prussia shouldn't add anything, but they will be forced to add war reps at 20 escalation. And then we will just instantly back down. It's unfortunate that we have to pay Prussia war reps, but it's what we're going to need to do in order to get a truce to make this start not super RNG. You can just attack Baden day one, but Prussia is very likely to side. It just relies on whether Baden will swap their government or not if you do that. Now we're going to swap back to the Agrarian Party because this is a cautious ruler, which, you know, we always like a little bit of cautious for minus 20% infamy generation. Also, we're going to do a little bit of stuff here. We're going to rival Saxony, Baden, Württemberg, and Bavaria, and we're going to use that to start improving relations with all the great powers. And now we're going to go attack Baden, and due to the Prussian truce, Prussia should be unwilling to support the Baden against us. We're just going to mobilize our 10 battalions and max conscription. Switzerland starts on national militia. It's one of very few countries to do that, I believe. There's not that many countries that do it, I think. I can't think of any other than the US and Argentina right now. We'll raise our conscripts, and we will defeat Baden here, because they've got the same number of troops, but they're not going to raise nearly as many conscripts. Oh, also, we're going to start running shortages of small arms and artillery, so we're going to import that from the Prussian, Austrian, and French markets, and that should help deal with the prices a little bit. Oh, also, I'm going to swap back to this government, because while we're not declaring wars, it's going to be nice to have a more legitimate government. Of course, the war with Baden is going very well, because we just have, like, double their troop count. Maybe we should promote this general so that he doesn't have as many org penalties, but it's not a big deal, because we're barely over the org penalty thing. Anyway, we conquered Baden. So now we're going to start incorporating the state. Luckily, it has Alamnaic culture, so we do get to quickly incorporate it in just 2 years. Württemberg also has Alamnaic primary culture, so we're going to swap over to the Agrarian Party again and use that cautious ruler to attack yet another country, and we'll see how this goes. It claims Austria is likely to support, but in my test games, they simply did not. So we will see if something is wrong with my test games, or the more likely explanation is that Austria is just not going to join, because I'm pretty sure in my test games it showed that Austria is going to join as well. Okay, looks like Austria is not joining quite yet. I'm really not sure what causes them to be plus, but in my test games, they did the same thing where they were plus, but they didn't end up joining the war. Maybe it's because there's no front. No, this looks like they do share a border here. So I'm not really sure why they don't want to join, but they just aren't, just like the British for some reason. I mean, the British makes a little bit more sense because they're super far away, but I'm not really sure what causes the Austrians to not get involved here. Anyway, that first battle is not going too well. We're just going to go on the defense and wait for our advantage to go up a little bit more. As we do have a ton of conscripts, over time the advantage should just slowly drift into our favor. We've got about a 40 advantage, so I've started pushing again, and looks like we are having some good victories. After this war, we are going to need to chill, because our balance is not looking very good, especially with those Prussian war ups eating a bit of our money. We could actually go up on taxes a little bit in order to try to solve our budget a little bit. Yeah, that brings us down quite significantly. Once this Spitzer Military Buildings is gone, we should be making a nice little profit, I believe. And yeah, we're just gonna go for Württemberg a little bit more here. Alright, nice. And then now we've got this new state, I guess we will incorporate it, although it does bring us down into the negatives of bureaucracy. It also gives us a construction sector, which is pretty interesting. I think we're have a big enough investment pool that we can handle one construction sector, I guess. But yeah, also we have two interests, which we need to declare somewhere. I guess we'll do North Germany and the Rhine, because I think going into these guys in Hesse is going to be our next bet, because if we try to go this way, we're going to have to deal with Austria, which is going to be pretty likely to intervene against us, I believe, if we try to go against Bavaria. We have a couple of universities in our country. I'm going to delete these because they are just kind of money wastes, which we really cannot afford to have at the moment. We are such a small economy. Universities are definitely not worth it right now. Our economy is quite collapsing right now, but that should be fixed once we get a Prussian trade agreement, because right now I think it's just due to our much shortages, which we can't really fix because that would cost a ton of bureaucracy to make that many trade routes. But once we get a trade agreement, the trade routes don't cost bureaucracy anymore, which should make things a lot easier. They're making a bit of a profit. I'm going to use it to lower taxes because we are running into a bit of a problem where we get turmoil in Baden, and I'm trying to build up a large amount in Baden because I think it's by far our best state in terms of it's got decent resources. The Swiss states do have more resources, but getting rid of that negative 15% state construction efficiency malice is just going to be way better than having to deal with it. You know, darn you, Switzerland. How dare the devs give Switzerland the worst modifier ever? Someone say it's not the worst ever. I think the South Americans have even worse modifiers, but if we ignore that, it's basically the worst modifier ever. Can we find the South American one? It's only minus 10. And this one, there's got to be one that's minus 20, I thought. What? Well, this one is minus 20. Yeah, the Rocky Mountains. We're about to hit 50 relations with the Prussians, which I believe will mean that with a couple of extra trade routes, we should be able to get a trade agreement. We can even get a defensive pact, but I don't think we want to do that, because I think that would... I think I'm trying to do a no ally rule for this game, so that wouldn't really do too well. But what we will want to do is sign a power block embassy and a trade agreement. For the trade agreement, we are going to need to increase trade volume a little bit. So I guess we will just import all the stuff that is expensive because we kind of want that stuff anyway. It's just that we can't really afford the bureaucracy right now. Okay, send a couple of trade routes, and now we have enough for Prussia to accept a trade agreement. So we're going to do that. It's going to be real nice. I think we actually want to join the Zollverein because I'm pretty sure that we actually just can't make big trade routes because without convoys, I think that there is just a cap to how big our trade routes can become. We can maybe take a look at that with our trade route here. What is making this stay at level 5? Because there's not a sea route and not enough land trade route capacity for the next level. Yeah, so we're just capped at level 5 trade routes. So we are going to really need to get into someone's market so they can do trade and stuff for us. We're running a pretty good balance though, so I think it is going to be time to expand a little bit in construction. Also, I think we need to do this real quick for it to update, because I think construction sectors are bugged and they don't lose their construction output bonus unless you do that sometimes. I'm not really sure what makes it happen, but someone let me know that that was an easier way of solving it at some point. Well, we're almost out of infamy, and I think that the only way we can do a war at this point is we have to ally Prussia, because if we attack Bavaria, I believe Prussia is guaranteeing their independence, and if we attack Hesse, Prussia is also going to be likely to intervene against us. They're positive. And so we just have to go for a Prussian alliance, and we're going to do that by taking the rural folk out of government real quick. And then we should have enough ideological similarities to ally the Prussians, and then they should just accept that alliance real quick. Yes, they do. Okay, and then we'll go back to this government for the cautious ruler, and then invade Hesse, and this should potentially lure in Bavaria. Or wait, could we just attack Bavaria for full annex, actually? That might be better. Or Sardinia Piedmont would be likely to get involved. Hmm. Okay, I realized we can just conquer the Bavarian Rhineland as our primary war goal, and that way Sardinia Piedmont cannot join against us. Pretty simple solution. I would trigger an anti-French league from doing that. Alright. We're gonna mobilize as many conscripts as we can. I guess we'll do an enlistment efforts decree in what West Switzerland or whatever. And we'll put some more mobile artillery in that way, and maybe a couple more conscripts for defending the Bavarian Rhineland border on this army. Yeah, that should be solid. We should need to hold the Rhineland and push into Bavaria or something, and that should work out pretty well for us. We do have a lot of balance right now, but that's definitely going to start going away here. We can't sway Prussia in, but they can't join the other side because I think an alliance will block them from joining Bavaria. Okay, we're going to have both sides defending at the start because the war is not looking great. But as the conscripts come up, oh, I forgot to turn on general staff. Oops. A little bit of a mistake there. Also, you know what else was a mistake? Putting these on picks and shovels, but that's just because we upgraded, we got the research somewhat recently. But yeah, we're gonna defend ourselves from the from the Bavarians, hopefully. Not really well right now, but I believe over time we will defend ourselves better or something. Yeah, we're losing this first battle, but you can see the advantage has flipped in our favor. Looks like we need some more troops on the 5 army because it is just losing. So let's give it like 4 more troops or something. Nope, that's still not enough. Okay, well, I guess we'll have to transfer over another like 3. Okay, that looks better. And we're looking like we're defending both sides now, which is exactly what we need to happen. Okay, now we got a big enough advantage the Bavarians don't want to attack. So what we're going to do is put everyone on this army, and due to these, or put everyone on that front. And since these fronts are actually on the same province, we can actually just assign to the other front once these guys are really close to toting a battle, and they won't stop attacking in time. If we do something like this, you can see they're just forced into a defensive battle or an offensive battle that they really don't want to be in. And we can just repeatedly do this to get some free wins against the Bavarians until the front advantage becomes so large that we just kind of instantly take over their country. Because yeah, they're just going to keep attacking, not realizing that they're just getting scammed for the most part here. Um, Oops, we accidentally let them get one battle in, but we should just be able to defend the vast majority of these pretty easily. Okay, now with a 57 advantage, after winning a couple of those battles, we're just going to go full offensive, and they shouldn't be able to hold very easily with this big of a disadvantage. Almost certainly. Also, I guess we could import some ammo. That would be good. Yeah, that would be very good if we could have a little bit of ammo and stuff in our market, definitely. We have no coal in our market, right? We should probably build a coal mine for that. That would be good. So I just got a lobby opportunity for a foreign investment agreement in Prussia. That's actually pretty interesting. Looks like Prussia still has like no desire to give it to us because they're protective instead of genial. But we are gonna be occupying Bavaria any second now. Because we do have... Oh, what? Okay, we get 1 troop in that battle, so we do lose it, but in like almost every other battle, we are just getting free wins. Yeah, we're just gonna occupy Bavaria, and now they're gonna start capitulating, and we can take all 3 of their states here. Like this, propose peace deal, and they should just accept it. Yep, we get nice little expansion of Switzerland. We'll start incorporating these 2 states, except it actually isn't gonna matter because this reaction movement is gonna fire. I'm gonna raise taxes. We need to save as much money as possible because, yeah, this budget is terrible. It's so bad. I don't really know how we're gonna fully solve it, but we're gonna try everything we can, and we're also gonna try everything we can to get Russia to get enough leverage over us. I don't know how we're gonna be able to manage to do that, though. Okay, the reaction movement has triggered. Unfortunately, it means we don't have a legitimate government, but yeah, that's just kind of how it's gonna be. Oh, we got our railways done. Let's go water tube boiler as our next tech. And then we'll go pharmaceuticals after that. Okay, looks like the reactionaries are going to get all of our South German stuff, but none of our Swiss stuff. Alright. Okay, the reaction unit's about to start in a second here. Yep, there it goes. Okay, we're gonna try our best to, or we're gonna guaranteed sway in Prussia pretty much. And then once we get Prussia on our side, hopefully they'll just mostly carry us to victory here. We're just going to mobilize our 10 guys and maybe try not conscripting. I don't know, it really depends on how much the Prussians will actually mobilize for this war. I'd really like to not conscript so that we don't go into a huge amount of debt fighting this war. We could just make the armed forces happy, or no, we can't really pass much of anything. I mean, yeah, we can't really pass anything because they're super illegitimate. Okay, I think it's gonna be best to just conscript up a lot here to win this war faster. Wait, what? Okay, I thought I was seeing them swap sides, but no. I think something else just weird happened. But we're gonna raise conscripts because it looks like the reactionaries are doing a little bit too well. The Prussians are not mobilizing as much as we would hope, unfortunately. And yeah, they're not doing too good on that front. Wow. What? Why are we just getting absolutely demolished? What is wrong? Huh? Okay, Prussians are mobilizing a bit more, which will make this front way more advantageous. So that's going to be nice, but I mean, I don't know if it's going to be enough. Okay, the Prussians are actually mobilizing a lot now, so we should be good. Yeah, that's good. I mean, I don't know if it's good enough, but it's definitely much better. They're getting some occupation in on Baden, which should be big for their occupation percentage on the Swiss reactionary revolt, because I think that's one of the bigger states, or not really, but it's something at least. What's their got their occupation percentage up to? Moderate. Okay, dang, not quite as high as we would hope. Kind of crazy this reactionary revolt has been able to hold off like a huge fraction of the German army. Looks like the Germans are mobilizing even more. I don't know why they just keep mobilizing more instead of mobilizing it all at once. But yeah, we're gonna win, I think, but it's gonna take us a long time to win this war compared to what could have happened if the Prussians had simply mobilized from the start. It's actually close. If they actually get into Switzerland before these guys are at like -10 on this, we're actually just dead. But I'm pretty sure we will win barely. Okay, in just a few days, the reactionary revolt, I think, yep, they capitulate. Nice. Okay, we win, and we got a nice positive balance here of like plus 14k. Very nice. I don't know if we got this much construction worth of stuff, but we can definitely use a little bit of construction here and start expanding our economy. Okay, looks like that's gonna. Oh wait, do we not have textile mills on the right PM? Dang, what a noob, Connor. But yeah, we're gonna try to solve our economy. Looks like it's just gonna fix itself now that we're back under Prussian or back with connected to the Prussian market. You know. Unfortunately, we do have a little bit too much leverage resistance, mostly due to having national militia. We might want to try to get off of that onto pro army so that we can fix our leverage resistance, because I really would like to be in the Prussian market. So yeah, we're going to try to enact pro army, which will hopefully give us low enough leverage resistance that the Prussians can get enough leverage on us. Okay, we get pro army through. Very nice. That should hopefully get our leverage. Yeah, prediction towards 165. That's much closer to what we need to be. Very nice. We could maybe request military assistance. Very low success chance, though. But this would be one way to get that final level leverage. So I spammed a bunch of trade routes with Prussia, and we can now grant them investment rights. The reason I want to try to grant the Prussians investment rights is we need a little bit more leverage, and this is the only way we can really get it, because they're only trending towards 166 right now. I think we might cancel this after the year. We just really want to get into the Prussian market, because, yeah, it's very hard to play without being in someone markets when you can't import significant amounts of goods because you don't have a port. Okay, the Patriotic Party has they've won the election with 82% of the clout. Very nice. Unfortunately, they don't have a cautious leader anymore. How dare they? I assume there's no cautious guys we can get here. Yeah, there aren't. Okay, in a second we're gonna hit 200 leverage, and we can now request to join the Zollverein. Let's go, big nice. I think that boosted our economy quite a lot. Yeah, you can see a big economic boom now that we're in the Prussian market. The great Swiss economic boom of being in the Prussian market to steal all their stuff. Looks like we're running a really healthy balance, so we're gonna build up a bunch more construction. Wow, we actually still have more money. More construction! I'm fake passing consumption-based taxation to make this coup go away. Also, in case you're wondering why we're not establishing this company, one, we are eventually going to reach Warsaw, which is going to give us, you know, the very good Lil Pop Row & Co., which I believe has iron in it, so that's one reason. And also, companies aren't really that great when you're low on GDP because nationally owned buildings give significantly more reinvestment than privately owned buildings. Yeah, we're going to go for a quick little conquest of Saxony because our infamy is getting a little bit low, so we might as well go for something. And Saxony got, you know, a decent economy, so it's now got to become part of the great Swiss country, because, we need a lot of states. I wonder how much we're up to right now. So far, we've got 7 out of 100. I guess there's basically no reason not to call Prussia as an ally into this war. Okay, we've defeated Saxony. We'll start incorporating the great state of Saxony. Looks like we're going to need a little bit more bureaucracy, so let's go Franconia as our state with the most taxation capacity needs right now, so I guess we'll build up like 3 governments there. Also, I guess we'll swap up to filing cabinets. Do we have more that are on simple org? No, we don't. Okay. Okay, coup is finally done. Now, what I want to do is start passing healthcare. So let's go for public health insurance. It's gonna be real nice getting that SOL and migration, or not more minus mortality, because 0.4% pop growth, not too great. It'd be nice to get the like 1.5% you typically get when you get that. Also, it'll help deal with radicalism because you get an extra like 2 SOL, not even considering the effects of pollution, which don't exist yet, but will become a significant factor if we don't get healthcare long term. Is that a flood? I saw the graphics of what looks like a flood. Yep, there is a very big flood over Eastern Europe here, or not really Eastern Europe, but like Central Eastern Europe. I don't know. Good old health taxes get us up back to a 27% success chance. Very nice. Okay, we just got an election, and now the armed forces are leading our country. Apparently, they're the most votes interest group, or what? How? No, they didn't get the most votes, seemingly. I've got no clue why I decided that they should be the leader, but I guess they are. Yay, the Prussians went militarized industry, which is really nice for us, because, we're probably going to be building a pretty big military this game, so if we actually end up being in a power struggle and take over the bloc, it's going to be nice to get that minus 15% mill goods cost, although there's a decent chance that Prussia will just eventually end up kicking us from the bloc, making that somewhat irrelevant. I wonder what's our total positive balance right now is like positive 10k, so I guess we can afford a little bit more construction. And then it looks like wood is getting a little bit expensive in the Prussian market, and wood is always pretty good value, so we'll just build up a little bit of wood. We get a lobby opportunity for investment rights with the USA, that's crazy, but we also get the Krakatoa eruption. We'll spend 1600 gov expenses to not have to get 5 infamy, I guess. Okay, I'm going to support Belgium in exchange for a bankroll, I guess. It's just kind of free money. It's not giving me that much money, but it's better than having 0 money, I guess. Because yeah, it looks like this Belgium's going to win, because Russia and UK are more likely to support it. We just received this guy who's cautious, and he's able to be promoted to leader of the petite bourgeoisie, so we're going to grant him leadership, and that's going to be real nice. Apparently that gives us the revolution victorious. We can get either 10% loyalists or 25 legitimacy. I think that will take the 10% loyalists. That deals with quite a bit of our radicalism and gives us a lot more loyalists. Very nice. I guess I'll go quickly send over a couple troops to help out the Belgians, because we do want to win, so we get that little bit of a bigger bankroll. We're only getting 1.5k right now. You can probably like double that if they take over Flanders as well. Okay, we got public health insurance. We'll start leveling that up, and I guess we'll try to build some more government administrations everywhere that we have tax capacity issues, so we can level up our healthcare. Got big positive balance. I guess we're going to build a ton more construction, because we can kind of just afford a lot here, growing pretty quickly. Oh yeah, I'm going to revoke Prussian foreign investment rights in us, because I don't really want to have our economy be stolen by the Prussians. I assume they didn't really buy that much of it, but I think it's going to be better for them to not own it due to us being under 50 million GDP. I think once you're over 50 million, getting investment rights if you're not privatizing is actually like kind of a good thing, because they'll just build buildings in you and just kind of get free value. But when you're under 50 million, you really value a reinvestment a lot, so I think it's much less good. Well, we're nearly out of infamy. Now we can choose between either expanding our stuff in the split state of Saxony or getting a new split state in Hesse. I think getting a new split state in Hesse is going to be best, because this conquered state modifier, recently conquered, it won't get applied again when we conquer stuff in the same province. So I think we want to try to get the one province in a state as fast as possible, so that it won't give us that malice in the future for as long as possible. So we'll go for Hesse first. Then after this, I think we'll clean up Saxony, and then the recently conquered malice will be mostly gone for the Hesse state, and then we can go for that fully. And probably just call Prussia in, and this is just going to be kind of a free win. Oh, Austria. Austria might join against us. Okay, well, if they do, that would be pretty interesting. I've definitely got some stuff I want to try to take from Austria if they do end up joining against us, which is going to cause a big world war pretty much. But I'm hoping that they just don't. We'll see. So far, they haven't joined. Okay. I didn't expect them to be plus on S, but they clearly are. But it seems like they just aren't joining. I don't really know what's making them not join, but maybe they think that they can't win against me and Prussia, which I mean, that maybe makes a little bit of sense. We do have more power projection than them. Okay, we got an election. Now this government is incredibly illegitimate, so we should change governments. I guess we'll go pure industrialist. Very righteous. Okay. We could go laissez-faire, but I don't think we're really at the GDP where that's going to be worth it yet. I'm surprised our industrialists are so powerful given that we're not privatizing. I think right now free trade is pretty much the only thing that the industrialists want to pass that's going to be good. It's not really that going to be that important anyway, because you can't do that much trade, but I mean, it will actually be kind of useful because this 50% trade route volume means I think we can do 50% larger trade routes without having to run into the land trade route issue. Okay, we finished our war with Hesse. A very nice extra state. Brings us up to 14.7 million GDP. Saxony's been doing pretty well. It's almost incorporated. Somehow we already got a new election. I feel like we just got one of these very recently, but the Free Democratic Party is now the winner, so we can go back to having these guys in charge. And I guess that means no more free trade. I just turned on nitroglycerin and all our stuff, and now we're having a little bit of a sulfur shortage, or not, a little bit of an explosive shortage. So we're going to build some explosives where we have got sulfur, which is Saxony. Oh, we managed to pass the Prussian economy. Let's go. Well, I wanted to invade Saxe-Weimar here because they got the most GDP, but unfortunately they have a Prussian defensive pact, which apparently, unlike a guarantee of independence, allows them to join against us, even when we have an alliance. So what we're going to do is go for the second best, which is going to be Saxe-Meiningen. Well, the actual second best is coastal, so it's landlocked behind other Saxonies, so we can't reach it. But yeah, we're going to go for this country. And I mean, there's a bunch of people who say they're going to join, but I don't think they're really going to join because they're tiny little minor countries, I think, for the most part. And if they do, we can probably call in Prussia and still defeat whoever joins against us, unless Russia and Austria join. Or like USA, I guess, could technically join too, but there's just no shot. Hesse-Kassel joins, and USA. As long as we don't get Austria in as well, we should just be fine, because the USA is not going to have a front, given that this whole point of the run is we're never getting a coastline, so yeah, good luck nail invading me, USA. Waited till a bit of a late escalation, but we are going to add a Conquer Hesse-Kassel war goal as well. Let's make sure we've got pretty much max conscripts in. Yep, okay. Should be a pretty easy win. Got like a 36 advantage here. Like double or over double the number of troops with a slight average strength disadvantage, but okay, wow, we're actually losing that battle. Oh, we got a bunch of troops here that we can just disband, and that should make things a lot stronger for us, and we can create a bit more generals to fix org problems, and we should just be fine. Okay, we occupied these two guys, and yeah, USA being in the war, so they're not going to cap instantly, but they will just eventually cap. We can probably send a peace deal. No, Hesse-Kassel does not want to, but soon they will just be forced to accept our demands, unless USA secretly have these guys in Overlord. No, they don't. Yeah, okay, very good. Oh, does that actually just delete the recently conquered modifier? Okay, well, my logic for conquering in both states at the same time kind of breaks when you realize that doing that just removes the recently conquered modifier, but nice. We just became a great power. Let's go. We're about 50% of the prestige below Prussia right now. Looks like cohesion is good. Cohesion is the thing I think that impacts whether they're going to try to kick us from the block, because we do want to try to take over the block if possible, I think. Though taking over the block will likely lead to Prussia leaving it, but if we just like conquer a state like Brunswick or whatever, we can still, or maybe we need something like Brandenburg, I guess. We can still get the market of like Sweden in our country, which is better than nothing. And most importantly, we'll have these extra power block mandates that we won't have to work up. I mean, getting a sub empire would be better, but like we don't even have monarchy, so creating a sovereign empire would be a lot of work, and we'd lose all our mandates, so I don't think it would be worth it. The option to create a confederation of the Rhine, yeah, we're definitely not doing that. I'm gonna conquer Nassau. They've got a good 900,000 GDP. Oh, Brazil, Sweden, yeah, nothing important. Looks like they're likely to sway against us. If Austria sways against us, we can just take some states from them, you know. I would like to cut off the Austrian market by taking Austria and Moravia, and in my test games, this almost certainly will lead to Bohemia becoming the capital because it has a very large GDP and a South German homeland. And so we'll surround it. The market capital and capital will move here. The rest of Austria will become isolated, and thus incredibly easy. We might also take West Galicia so we can get a border with Russia, because Warsaw or Plock are going to be very good states for the Lopop Rau Eco company, which is going to be, I think, our real Pop Rowie Lowenstein company here, which is incredibly strong because tool, steel, and iron is a lot of really good industries. What? Britain owns the United Baltic Provinces? Deep bourgeoisie, petition us for public schools. We can definitely do that for sure. Yeah, I'm gonna go for Saxe-Coburg Gotha. I think this is gonna be one of our last wars before I seriously start considering attacking Austria, because yeah, we're gonna start building up an army now, I think, to start getting ready for that war with Austria, because I really wanna start getting into that Lil Pop Rowie Lowenstein company in Warsaw, and so we're gonna be trying to take Austria, Moravia, and West Galician in our first war with Austria. As long as this cautious guy is still alive, it shouldn't be that bad in terms of infamy. If he does die, then that is going to be over 100 infamy, but while he's alive, it's just going to be 28 times 3, which is like 81 infamy or something. Okay, we just unlocked steel frame buildings, so we're going to start trying to do the swap up to steel frame, because that's always nice, and get one more phase on public schools. We've just got 2 advances in a row that have given us +1 phase. Nice. Somehow we got this company. I assume we got it from conquering one of these guys. I think we're just going to disband it. Okay, we've gotten up to public schools, which is nice. Get that petition completed, and it'll give us some legitimacy and stuff. Prop tax is a pretty significant increase in money, so we will be going for prop tax, I guess, now. Also, I guess I'm going to start building some military industries, because I do think that we're probably going to need some of these, especially if we get kicked out of the Prussian market or whatever. It's going to be nice to ensure that we have some industries. Well, I definitely want to do a war against Austria, but however, the Russians would very likely get involved, regardless of what war goal we pick. The Russians are likely to get involved. So instead, I think we're just going to keep having to conquer some North Germans until we build a strong enough military that I'm confident we can win that 2v2 war, because our military right now is still not strong enough that I'm confident we can defeat Russia and Austria, even with Prussia's help. Okay, we got proportional taxation. Very nice. 215K income is pretty good. Okay, we're going to declare a war against Parma for investment rights, because the hope is that this won't call Russia in, even though they do sort of support these guys. The hope is that they don't support them enough for them to be willing to join Parma. We're going to mobilize everything we can here, and we're going to sway Prussia in, because Russia likes Prussia, and that will counteract Austria liking Parma, or Russia liking Austria. Also, we're going to swap over to this patriotic party government, because it will make the Russians like us a little bit more, giving us +7 from no strong preference for either side. Now, as soon as we can, we'll call Prussia in. Okay, there we are. Call ally on Prussia, and Austria's in the war as well. Now we're going to put everything on the front real quick, and then we're going to quickly see here, Russia is -1. Which is not what you want to see, but it's better than being like wanting to join the other side, I guess, right? It looks like we are not really filling our construction queue too good, but just put a little bit of stuff in there, I guess. That would be better than having it empty. I mean, we don't really like this negative balance, but it's fine. We can hold it for a while. Anyway, we should hope Russia declares neutrality, or else the war goals will likely make them want to join. Yep, hopefully they declare neutrality. Got what, like, yeah, not much escalation left. Okay, there we go, final basic. Russia has not declared neutrality. Okay, well, hopefully they just don't join for some reason. West Galicia, +17. Okay, well, this is going to give them so much plus, but hopefully they still don't join. I don't know why, but, you know, maybe they just won't. Who knows? And Moravia, and so they're just not? Okay. Why would they not be joining? I have actually, like, no clue. Why would they not be joining here? This is pretty strange that they don't want to join. Or they do want to join, but I guess there's just no sway that Parma wants to give them. Maybe they just don't care. I guess they just don't care about the obligation or anything, so there's just not much Parma can sway them with. Yeah, that's nice. We get West Galicia, Austria, and Moravia, which was our goals. All right. Well, we got a pretty good advantage, so we should just be winning over time. It's just going to be sort of a matter of time, I think. We're kind of not winning as many battles as we would hope. Maybe let's try taking some guys off the front to try to bait them into attacking. Yeah, let's do that real quick. And maybe we can bait them into some attacks. Looks like we did manage to bait them into a couple of attacks. Maybe now we can go back onto the front and do some solid pushes. Just make sure to select people who seem like they'd be decent attacking generals. Okay, we've got like a 50 advantage on the front now, which should just be pretty solid. We're kind of making our progress into the capital, which is very nice. As long as Austria just ends up capping faster than Prussia, we should just be good. And they're capping faster right now, but Austria has a lower capitulation desire. So that's not great, but it's fine, I think. Russia's about to get into Moravia, which might actually be a bad thing. That might start a bunch of battles in Bohemia, because that's going to make Bohemia pretty clearly the most natural tile for a battle to start, I feel like. But, okay, we get another battle in Austria. Oh, this is the final one. They only got 12% occupation left. Oh, our research on shift work is done. Okay. I guess we'll go improve fertilizer into pump jack. Okay, we occupied Austria. Nice. Now, got this Bohemia little enclave, but yeah, we're in a good state here. Neither of them want to capitulate yet, but they should hopefully soon. Yeah, Prussia shouldn't cap before Austria, I'm pretty sure. Oh yeah, maybe let's stop being hyper illegitimate. That would probably be good. Okay, Austria is about to get into capitulation. Yep, there we go. The Great Swiss Expansion. And now the Austrian market is isolated. I guess let's incorporate our newly acquired 3 states. Also, we're going to fully demobilize because these guys can't reach us, obviously. Apparently, this government is already illegitimate. I literally just made it like 2 seconds ago. What happened? But okay. Your good old Austrian market, the GDP is collapsing now that they have no market access. You know, of course, it makes some sense that that would happen. Because all these states, I'm sure, are running big shortages on pretty much everything. You can see iron is just negative 75% price in the state, so the iron mines are going to have to downsize. Government administration's running 50% paper shortages, so bureaucracy doesn't get to be made or whatever. I'm sure this is going to result in lots of debt for the Austrian, which is going to be lots of good for us. Oh yeah, now that we're over 50 million GDP, we should go laissez-faire, I guess. Is there we can get the industrialists into government? It's not too bad legitimacy, so I guess we'll do this. And then we'll start passing laissez-faire so we can get that 100% government dividends reinvestment and some forced privatization. We don't really like forced privatization, but it's something to be good. Oh wait, we're power struggling? Nice. We're gonna take over the Zollverein. Okay, apparently I failed the power struggle. Nice. Okay, Parma offers a white piece. We'll take it. UK versus the Heavenly Kingdom in Russia? What is this cursed war? UK just casually eating like 100 million pops in one war. Well, it looks like the UK is going to be successful in taking like 100 million pops from the Heavenly Kingdom. Dang. Apparently, Switzerland is just your government keeps on resigning from you. Keep having to swap governments. It's ridiculous how often you've had to do it this game. But yeah, got this reactionary civil war, which isn't quite activist enough to actually start one. Okay, we're gonna delete a bunch of. Oh, we can't delete construction because of this reactionary movement, but I think we're gonna not really be able to run this much because our budget isn't really good right now. Somehow Austria is managing to run a positive balance with only Bohemia having market access. That's crazy. Okay, so an election just took place, and now this is illegitimate, and we can't make a legitimate government due to the reaction movement, so we're gonna go down a tax level so that we can continue to pass laissez-faire. Okay, reaction movement just ended. Labor movement has begun. Is this turning towards 100? Or no, it's turning towards 87. Okay. Interesting. Well, that's not very nice. You know, labor movement? How dare you try to stop me from passing LF? Okay, we passed laissez-faire. Very nice. You can go back up on taxes, I guess, now. So this labor movement stops being big mad or whatever. Well, we need the reaction movement to be... No, the reaction movement isn't big mad anymore, I guess. So we can just fake pass interventionism to make these guys a little bit happier. And that should... Yeah, and the rev is gone now, so we can have a legit government again. Okay, so yeah, we're gonna swap over more to steel frame, but also delete a ton of construction because we just can't really afford much right now. Need a lot less construction, something like this. Yeah, that's actually more. We need to delete a lot of construction sectors. Okay, this might be fine. I don't know. We'll see. Due to LF, we're currently running an insanely positive balance, but this is definitely gonna go down over time as buildings privatize, which is gonna hurt our economy a little bit, I think. We'll see, but I'm definitely expecting a bit of a contraction in our reinvestment as buildings privatize. Although it will have a corresponding increase in our wages and dividends taxes as we get more financial districts. It's definitely not going to be enough to counteract the loss in reinvestment. I think we can probably stop fake passing interventionism now, and we should be fine. See what the labor movement's doing. It's only trending towards 66%, so we'll be good. Okay, we're power struggling again over the block. I guess our GDP has managed to grow up enough that we're doing it again. We'll see if we can be successful this time. Don't really think we want to win the power struggle, but we probably are going to win the power struggle. I mean, we could maybe like delay it by lowering mill wages or whatever, but I don't really care enough to do that. So if we take over the block, we do, and if we don't, we don't. I don't care much really. Because if we take it over, we get some nice stuff, but also pressure's gonna leave, which is gonna kill our market access. But I think we've got a big enough, like we all almost own like half of the block's GDP at this point, so I assume our economy is gonna be fairly self-sufficient. So apparently we lost the power struggle and it restarted immediately. I'm a little bit confused. Oh, we got pump jacks. Nice. Think of vulcanization because we're not really gonna have any rubber. What could we go that would be a little bit useful? Maybe start going multilateral alliances. I feel like by that point we might be getting pretty close to doing high infamy, but probably not quite yet by that point. What is going to be the next play for research? Maybe that's just the play. We go multilateral alliances. Because, yeah, I'm thinking by 1880s we probably aren't going to be going high infamy yet. Okay, I think we're going to be taking over the Zollverein here, because we're at 11 out of 12 months, so looks like we're about to take it over, and then Prussia's going to leave the block, almost certainly. In, like, all my cases. Oh, I forgot you have to go one more month plus 12 out of 12. But yeah, we're about to take over the Zollverein here in just a second. Also, I think we're basically completely out of peasants. You only got like 40k left. And yeah, we're taking it over. What is this randomly generated name? I've never seen it before. Is this a Swiss unique randomly generated name? Waltzburg Union? Sure, we'll take that one. Isar Pact? No, that'll work too, I guess. Okay, sure. And now Prussia should leave the block, I assume. This is almost always what happens. Are they actually not? No shot. No way. Okay, we're just gonna give it a little bit, but it looks like they might not be leaving, which is kind of unbelievable, because the AI almost never stays in the block after you take it over. Well, it looks like it's actually happening. Like, it's been going on for a while here, and they still are yet to leave. I think my understanding of when the AI abandons things is when their acceptance is below -100. So I'm thinking what might have happened is that the fact we have 100 cohesion might have been a big factor in why the block didn't disband, or why they didn't leave. Okay, now that we take over the block, we can replace some of these principles. So I guess we'll do advanced research 3 first, instead of police coordination, and then eventually we'll replace transportation infrastructure with something else as well. I'm going to build a couple of universities in Hesse, because we do want to try to get up to our innovation cap if possible, and that's going to help us out with that, because our innovation cap just got up even higher with that advanced research pick. Okay, we can now request a Prussian power block embassy, which should give us more leverage, making them less likely to leave, so let's do that. We have 10.9 thousand convoys from power block members. That's crazy. You can stack over 100% contribution? How in the world is this happening? 50% from being a Dominion and 60% from the power block use 110% of their convoys. That's what we call perfectly balanced. Okay, we just got up to 3 mandates, so we're going to swap out transportation infrastructure with food standardization. It'll help increase our pop growth. It looks like by like 0.2%. That's still something. Also gives us an extra SOL, which means we could pretty easily raise taxes probably. We might want to try to just start building a big army here and go high infamy TBH. Kind of in a pretty decent situation economically, but I don't know. I don't think we can do it. I don't think we can beat everyone around us. Surely not. I'm gonna hire this guy because he's gonna join the reactionary movement. And he's cautious. We don't have any cautious guys right now, so this guy let us get a cautious for our wars. We just need the trade unions to get pressured. We imprisoned a radical guy in order to get an agitator slot, so the radical movement's gonna drop a lot of support, which should make the trade unions stop being pressured. And then once we have an open slot, it should just go into the reaction movement because they are at 10% here, and the support here is going to go up since we just got a second agitator for it. Okay, we get regulatory bodies, very nice, level that up. Oh, we don't have level 4? Oh, do we not have the tech for this? What? Oh yeah, we don't have socialism, so we don't get that extra, we don't have the levels for this yet, wow. Dang, unfortunately the liberal movement took the place of the radical movement as the thing that the trade unions are now supporting. So we're going to go into the South German national movement, and we're going to suppress this. So that should hopefully get these guys no longer pressured by it. And there shouldn't be another movement for them to support, hopefully. So I just go look at the Heavenly Kingdom, and this is so cursed. What in the world has happened here? This is quite possibly the most cursed China that I've ever seen the AI create. Okay, the trade unions are now being pressured by the reaction movement, so we can put the trade unions into government, then grant leadership to this guy, and now this guy would become the ruler of our country if we get this as our government, which is good. Oh, Russia's trying to improve relations with us, so we're probably gonna have to attack someone they're guaranteeing the independence of. Otherwise, it's not really gonna be possible to attack them. They're really gonna be, Montenegro might work? Need someone that Austria wouldn't protect if possible. Because, yeah, we can't attack them directly because we've got too good of relations right now. Okay, I think it's going to be time to do our war with Russia. I figured out that we can attack Russia by attacking Romania for banned slavery, and it looks like Austria has no want to join this war, so that should work out pretty well for us. We can just sway Prussia in. Oh yeah, we can upgrade to shrapnel artillery, which is going to make pushing a lot more effective. As soon as Russia joins in, we'll call Prussia in, because it'll make things a bit more likely for Russia to join. Yeah, okay, Russia's in. Call Prussia in to our side. Okay, now what we're going to do is make sure we have our cautious, and then we're going to take, I think, pretty much all of Poland. So, conquer Warsaw, conquer Lublin, conquer Plock, conquer, yeah, actually, that's going to be pretty good. Now we just need to add war goals to make Romania less likely to back down. So let's say Romanian war operations primary. They're not that scared, so we probably don't need that much, but I suppose we can do revoke claim on Bessarabia primary. And looks like we have enough for one more. I don't know if there's any more. Yeah, I don't think any of these other revokes are going to be against Romania. So this looks like it's going to be our best peace deal. Okay. Alright, I guess we can take Russian war ups as well. It'll make them a bit more likely to back down, but it's going to be some nice money, so you can never pass up some good money like that, you know? Oh yeah, I suppose we should swap back to a slightly more legitimate government now that we do not need that in order to do this. It looks like we're just going to be winning because we got 12 advantage on this front and a 100 advantage on this front. We should put these guys on attack because they are going to just have some very free battles, given that there's literally no one guarding this front right now. Get some free territory into Poland. Yeah, okay, we get Warsaw, which gonna merge the two fronts. Looks like it decided that the southern front was the real front, and so that's the front that everything merged to do. But yeah, looks like going pretty well. We've already taken Lublin and Warsaw. We just need to take bloc and then any incorporated state, which I assume these are going to be the closest incorporated states to take. Alright, we got bloc. Now we just need to take one of these two states. The Russians have 72 defense in that battle. How am I supposed to beat 72 defense, bro? You got an expert defensive strategist on a woodlands. Insane. Stacking modifiers. We're slowly winning, but it's barely, barely, barely. Okay, we occupied Hrodna, so... I think that's what this... No, it's called Grodno. Why did I think it's called Hrodna? I don't remember why I thought it was called that. Maybe it's called that with someone else owning it. But anyway, the Russians are going to start capping now. And I think we're going to accept a peace here. We want something like this, I think. Yeah, that should be good. Let's just propose this peace deal. And great Swiss expansion yet again. Get a bunch more pops. So like a pretty huge increase to a number of pops, which we do need a lot of pops right now. Because we were kind of lacking a lot of peasants before that, you know. We've still only got 1.5 million peasants, even with all these newly acquired states, and these states seemingly have almost all of those 1.5 million peasants. Like West Galicia's got 200k, and pretty much everywhere else just has 0, or basically 0, like 20k or whatever. We're getting an anarchist movement. I'm gonna swap to researching human rights real quick. We're actually tech spreading it, but I'm gonna continue to swap to it anyway. And the idea is, once we get human rights, we can maybe abdicate to this movement and just get multiculturalism or something. Okay, we get the anarchist movement and we got human rights, so we can abdicate now, and it'll give us a law. It gives us Council Republic. Let's not give Council Republic, guys. That would not be very cool. How about you give me multiculturalism, okay? How about you give me multiculturalism, okay? How about you do that? That would be nice, you know? How about you give me multiculturalism? You know, it's even one of the laws that my guy opposes, so yeah, thank you. I think this is kind of a fine government to do it with. Sure, we're helpless before the coming storm, and we get multiculturalism in, which is pretty nice. It's gonna give us some radicals, unfortunately. You do get 10% radicals of some interest group. I don't really know exactly how it decides what interest group. The code, it says like ruler interest group, but I don't think that's what happened because sometimes I got like 12% radicals from clicking it, I feel like, which doesn't really make much sense. Good old multiculturalism letting us get all the mass migrations, which is great. Definitely need mass migrations because we are like basically completely out of pops. So it's gonna be nice to get some mass migrations into our country. We're getting mass migrations into nearly all of our states. We got a Russian, Korean mass migration, and we got Siberian from Taiping. It's unfortunate we didn't get Han from Taiping. I wonder if they have enough Han radicals that that's possible. Looks like they declared bankruptcy, so my guess is that they will. If you take a look at a random state, they've got, yeah, 50% turmoil, 50% turmoil. So we probably can get some Han mass migrations. Wait, how are we getting... Oh, because we got our trade members. I'm like, how are we getting people from people we don't have trade routes with? But it's because we have all these people in our trade league that we're able to get mass migrations. Hey, well, it's not a Han, but a Manchu mass migration is still pretty solid. The evil reactionaries think they can stop us just because I passed multiculturalism. You think you can start a revolution to prevent that? Nope, that's unacceptable. Sorry, but here in Switzerland, revolutions are actually against the law, so we're gonna have to crush this evil Swiss reactionary revolt. I don't know why it gets called the bourgeois revolt for like a second and then it changes names. Seems to consistently happen with the reactionary revolts, but yeah, this should be a very easy war, really. The evil Sardinia Piedmontians think they can stop us. How dare they? That's actually kind of annoying, but it's not going to make much of a difference. Okay, 50% or 50 advantage on this front, 93 on this front, and 37 on this front. Surely we just get an easy victory here. We are kind of, not chilling very good with this zero market access throughout our whole country. But we will be able to restore it very quickly once we deal with this revolt. Maybe it would have been worth moving our market capital to Baden before the Civil War started. I don't know. Maybe that would have been a decent idea. Probably, actually, but yeah. Oh, we need to push on you, or else it's not going to get to 100% occupation, which would be very bad. Definitely want to get to 100% occupation, or else we're going to have big problem with this war not ending instantly. We need this war to end instantly. We're running a negative 700,000 balance, please. Okay, well, we're up to total enemy occupation, which is great. Need to hold this for a little bit, like 9 weeks or something, and we should be good. We're only going to lose like 7 million because of this. The shortages are really annoying, but it'll be fine. We're going to deal with the Civil War real quick. Okay, the revolt is almost done, and then it's going to be trying to fix our economy from here. As all the shortages slowly evaporate and stuff, our economy will slowly go back to not being the worst economy ever. You can see the great economic crisis of the Swiss revolt. Okay, we've incorporated Warsaw, so I think we got some fake companies. We got fake companies established by the revolution. Let's disband a bunch of these. I guess we'll keep the wood company in, but I want to establish Lopop Ravi Lowenstein, and I guess you got an extra company slot, so do the birthright company, sure. So Lopop is in Franconia. Um, so we'll build up a bunch of iron mines here, I guess, for that to privatize, and some steel mills for it to privatize. Let's build up a bunch of stuff here that Lil Pop can try to privatize, because we want to get it to 10 levels ASAP in order to let it buy buildings throughout the rest of our country at maximum efficiency. Right now it has a pretty low chance of buying the buildings, but once it has 10 levels in its primary state, it has a much higher chance of buying the buildings. So apparently trade routes can simply grow infinitely large if you have convoys but not a coast, because all trade routes simply cost 0 convoys. This is a perfectly balanced mechanic. Okay, we need another cautious guy, so we're gonna imprison you for 10 years. And then we're gonna go for this little cautious right here. And we need the reactionary to pressure the armed forces, which we're gonna do once the radical movement goes down to not pressuring them. But it is quite pressuring them right now, so probably gonna want to stop doing our road maintenances so we can start suppressing the radical movement? Yeah, the radical movement, start suppressing it. And maybe let's even exile this other guy, or no, he's too similar to the ideology of the ruler, so we can't do that. Okay. Well, I think I'm gonna start eating the states in Hesse while we wait for the cautious, and once we get the cautious, we're gonna start invading France, I think. I wanna take Alsace and Rhone at the very least, and probably take a couple more states. Rhone will be nice as our first good source of cotton, because right now, pretty much all of our cotton has to come from either trade routes or from, what's the other source called? Livestock ranches. So apparently France owns like all of Korea, and now they're all migrating over to Franconia now. So yeah, we'll take that. Great mass migration into Switzerland. GDP is pretty much recovered to what it was pre-Civil War now. It's a little unfortunate that we had that Civil War to slow down our economic growth, but it's fine. Okay, looks like the armed forces are now pressured by this guy, so we can just give him leadership, and he is cautious. So that's going to be nice once we get our, or once we decide we want to do it, we can declare on France for these states, which will be super nice. Okay, now we're going to go for Rhone against France, and it's only going to cost 21 infamy because we got our, wait, oh, we don't even have our ruler in. Let's make sure we get that guy in, or else we're wasting infamy. Now it's only going to cost 15.8 infamy. That's what we want to see. Let's go. It's so cheap because we got Franco-Provençal primary culture as well. So it's a homeland. Now we also want to take Alsace-Lorraine. That's going to be cheaper as well because it's also Alumniac, I believe. Yeah, this one's Alumniac. And I don't think there's any more that are Alumniac. Yeah. So we'll just take whatever's the highest GDP province that we are going to border here. Which looks like it's going to be Burgundy. Yeah, so we'll take Burgundy, and then I think next is going to be Lorraine, so we'll go for Lorraine, and then I think that's going to be good, so we'll just take some French war reparations, and I think this should just be fine. Yeah, looks like, okay, Prussia's bankrupt, so we're not going to call them in, so this war is actually going to be a little bit tricky. Probably you're going to want to actually build up some more military for this war, or else we actually might be at a little bit of a disadvantage in this war. I don't know. Is anyone likely to intervene on France's side? Like no one too major is likely to intervene. So we should be fine. But we are going to need to, I think, build a little bit more troops in order to have a good chance at winning this war in a reasonable amount of time. So I will just start building up a bit more of a military. Okay, well, we got a bunch of conscripts here. We are actually slightly losing, though, which ain't great. We're gonna make sure that we go up, or we forgot to turn on military statistics, advanced tactics training. That should help out a little bit. We'll also put on luxurious supplies, I guess. We'll spend all the money we can in order to make sure we win this war. Because I believe in us. Okay, with all that stuff, now we're doing significantly better. And we're holding off the initial French attack, but we are not really going to be strong enough to attack them, I think. I mean, maybe we will, because shrapnel RT has more attack than skirmish has defense, so maybe we should be able to? I don't know. That's a huge battle that we're winning in Baden. Baden has so much infra, so pretty much any battle that happens there is going to be massive. Okay, we're going to split off this guy and give him one skirmish and one shrapnel, and this guy's is going to go on the attack, because the idea is they're going to have better borrowing patterns if you only have one troop attacking. Why did we get so few troops in that battle? I don't know why we had so few. I think I just claimed we had less battalions on the front, even though we have more manpower on the front, so I'm not really sure exactly what went wrong there, but we will just keep trying to attack with that 1-2 stack, and it should, I think, in theory, give us some pretty strong attacks, but it's just not really getting the manpower that it should be, I think. I don't know why, really, but not going as well as I would hope. Maybe we should take off some oh, we're, good. We got a new tech. Start going, wargaming, I guess, into defense in depth. Chem warfare actually would be amazing. Once we get chem warfare, that's going to be huge for our ability to fight wars, because that, gives plus 20 offense. Yeah, we'll do something like this as the government, and then I guess we'll pass something that the armed forces like. Dedicated police force should work. Just want to get that +2 army strength, and then I'm going to take off a few armies from the front, I think, in order to hopefully result in them attacking us again, because if they attack us again, that will mean that they take more casualties or whatever, which is going to be good for us. Okay, so we somehow have a 38 advantage, which is pretty solid, so we're going to send everyone back to the front and start attacking. Maybe just everyone is going to be best, actually, because the advantage here is pretty large, so I think just doing a lot of attacking is going to be best strategy here. Make sure we push our advantage while we have it. Yeah, 51 advantage is very solid. Should just be victorious here. Once we can get chem warfare, that's when we're going to start truly winning all of our wars pretty much immediately. Looks like we are actually not using like any of our construction right now, which isn't great, but yeah, I guess we should build some logging or whatever. I don't know. I don't really want to waste money on construction, but also I do, you know? Okay, we're gonna occupy Alsace-Lorraine here, which is gonna be nice. But we still need to occupy quite a bit more. Oh, we also occupied Rhone, nice. We still need to occupy quite a bit more to make it to the French capital / enforce Burgundy and Lorraine. Okay, we're gonna go back on the defense. We're not really making too much advances at this point. So we're just gonna go back defense and take troops off the front, try to get them to attack us or whatever. 'Cause we're not making too much progress. And we're also building up bigger military, because that should hopefully help us out with winning the war a little bit. Okay, well we managed to receive a 50 advantage, so we're gonna start trying to do some pushes again, and we'll see how that goes. Looks like it's going real well. Very good, very good. Love to see it. Just need to occupy Burgundy and Lorraine, and then we can enforce. We can actually request Hohenzollern for supporting Germany. Okay, we'll take Hohenzollern. Okay, that's going to be Burgundy, and then this is going to be Lorraine. Very nice. And that's Lorraine. So, France, will you accept my peace deal now? Nope. Okay, well, soon they will. Okay, propose peace deal. And get the most cursed borders ever, but it has to be done, you know. These are truly some cursed borders. But, hey, we're now the #1 GDP in the world by a quite substantial margin. Love to see it. Apparently, Prussia just white peace to the Ruhr Uprising. I guess that's what happens when you're bankrupt. Pretty unfortunate. I mean, actually, it's not that bad. We can just conquer it in 5 years, I guess. Well, let's start incorporating the newly acquired states. Hopefully, somewhat soon we can stop with having quite this much border gore. This is really some incredible levels of border gore. Oh, Austria is finally getting close to bankruptcy. That's nice. So we can swipe Prussia for protectorate here. I did a little bit of thinking about whether this is allowed within the rules, and I think, given that the EU4 achievement doesn't say anything about subjects, I'm pretty confident. And given that we already have people in our trade league that are effectively giving us the ability to trade with people overseas, I think that there's really no reason to just allow us to get protectorate. The criteria that I'm sort of trying to use here is that we can't set interests outside of things we border, and I'm pretty sure that that should stay even when you have a subject. That those do give you interest, but I'm pretty sure it doesn't allow you to set an interest. So it's going to be pretty nice to get Prussia as a subject. We will try to help them out in this Polish uprising, I guess. Okay, well, the Prussians get Poland annexed. Let's go. Big Prussia subject. And let's just quickly make sure that we cannot set interests. Yeah, we cannot set interests outside of where we have borders of our native interests. I've got no clue what caused this British flag. It looks like Britain is now a dominion of Britain. Well, we got this reaction movement going. It's not taking any of our great states. I mean, it is actually going to cut us in two because of taking Austria, but it's going to be mostly fine, I think. We're going to be fighting the Civil War pretty soon to try to deal with our radicalism issues in France. Keeping on getting reaction movements is a little bit of a problem for us because it is going to mean that we just like can't really conquer much of turmoil states. I'm not really sure what's the best solution for this. If we could like get off of voting, that makes it so you can't trigger a reactionary movement, I know, but we can't really do that very easily, so I'm not sure what's going to be the best solution for this. Actually, I'm going to go secret police. The idea with secret police is we're going to do this suppression, which gives, you know, we're going to give it up to minus like 50% impact, and then as this initial enthusiasm, we're going to try to not trigger a civil war here by going down on taxes, because whenever a civil war happens, the problem is that we're continuously getting initial enthusiasm from the movement over and over and over again. So if we can get a secret police to reduce political movement pop attraction on the movement when we suppress it, along with removing that, we should hopefully be able to get support to go below the 5% threshold for starting a civil war. So we passed secret police. We'll start leveling that up. That's going to be real nice. We are kind of lacking authority, unfortunately, in order to press the movement. So we are going to need to fix that somehow. Oh, we got chem warfare. That's nice. I guess we can go for flamethrowers as well. That's another 15 offense. I'm going to remove the services consumption tax and replace it with a suppression of the reactionary movement. And that's going to start trending towards 7% support now. Okay, we're getting kind of close to below 5, given that suppression is going to become more powerful and they're going to lose out on this 56% in 11 years, well, decaying over 11 years. Once it gets below 5, we're going to be good to start going high infamy pretty much. We just really need that to happen. Okay, I think we're going to do another war with Russia. We need to get an ideally cautious ruler because I don't want to go high infamy yet because we don't really have the, you know, the reaction movement is still too high. I guess we don't have a cautious, so we're just going to go into this guy And we're gonna just take a state in Belarus is gonna be the most important thing, but I guess we'll just declare for, oh, do we have too good of relations with Russia? No, why can we not? Oh, our interests in the East haven't appeared yet, but once our interests do, I'm gonna declare for liberate Ukraine, and then we're gonna add a bunch of war goals to get through Belarus, because we want to, once we go high infamy, start taking states in the Russia strategic region. We can then go into, you know, the Urals and Central Asia or whatever. So let's declare lib Ukraine, and then, because we want to conquer states from them eventually, but then we'll go conquer Minsk, conquer Russian South Livonia. Can we even reach that? We can't really reach that, so we'll not conquer it yet. Conquer Vilnia, conquer Grodno, conquer, what else here? Mogilev, conquer Vitebsk. Oh, with Vitebsk, we actually can make it to South Livonia. Well, let's not go high infamy, so this is going to be good for our war goals in this war, because I don't want to go high infamy yet, or else we're going to run into way too many radicals, and we're not ready for that reaction movement yet. Oh, Austria joined against us in this war. It should be fine, given that we have, we don't have flamethrowers yet, but we do have chem warfare, which is pretty incredible. Like, chem warfare just equals free win. 15 offense is kind of insane. I guess, yeah, machine gunners is also pretty good. The solid 5 offense and 10 defense. So with these things, the Russians and Austrians shouldn't stand much of a chance. Or Russia will just back down and give us liberate Ukraine. Okay. We are on right of assembly right now, but I'm actually going to go down to censorship, because this will give us some extra authority, but more importantly, increase the suppression effect, and we definitely want to increase the suppression effect as much as possible so we can get this reaction movement down. Okay, we passed censorship. Let's see. I think that should mean that our reaction movement's going to start turning towards 5% now. Oh, it's turning towards 4%. Nice, that's what we needed. Alright, well, the reaction movement's down to 4%, so it's war declaration time. Oh, we can reduce Prussia to a puppet as well. Very nice. We are, I guess, gonna go for, we have truces with France right now. Let's see. Looks like we don't. Okay, I guess we'll go for France first then. Take all their inland states. Do we have enough maneuvers for that without... Question is, do we want to recreate a power block as a military treaty? That would be an interesting choice. It could definitely be reasonable for that 30% maneuver cost. But, like, I kind of want to have a budget that isn't the worst thing ever. So we're not going to do that yet. We're just going to attack France, and we'll see how much of it we can conquer. I think we can probably conquer a good amount of it. Oh, we have a reckless guy, I think. Yeah, we do. Okay, that's going to be nice. The extra 20 maneuvers. We got 150 maneuvers. Gotta make sure we don't conquer anything that's coastal here. And we'll be good. I think we probably have enough for all the non-coastal states. We will see, though. Have enough for 3 more states. There's 1. Just need... Okay, that's 1. We need them to only have 1 more non-coastal state, or 0. Looks like they have 0 more non-coastal states. Auvergne Limousine is non-coastal. Okay. All of our maneuvers perfectly spent to get all the French dead. All French states shall become part of Switzerland. USA has sided with France. That's unfortunate, but with the power of our military, we should be fine. We do need to actually turn on flamethrowers, though. That will help us out a little bit. Flamethrowers are a pretty giant boost of an extra 15 offense when we already had by far the highest offense in the world. Should just be plenty. I think right now we're going for stormtroopers. Yeah, that'll give us an extra 5% kill rate and 5 offense on our infantry. So apparently Prussia has decided to side against us as well, and Hohenzollern. So it's not ideal, but I think that we can still win. Okay, it'll be fine. Yeah, it'll be good. It'll be good. We got this. It's just a small inconvenience. Good old 60 advantage over here, which is pretty huge when your army is this offense pilled. Any advantage is pretty much all you need to win. 106 offense, easy dubs, easy dubs. And good old flamethrower chem warfare is so balanced. Oh, also we're gonna raise taxes. We need more money. We need even more money. Let's more taxes. We might even want more taxes than this, to be honest. I don't know. We don't want to deal with too much turmoil, though, so maybe we'll just have to go with this. This should be plenty of army to just save us at the end, because, 143 offense. Okay, some people are leaving our power block. It's to be expected given that, we are over 100 infamy now, but we'll be fine. Who needs power block members anyway, right? I'm gonna delete these conscripts. We need to save money right now, so conscripts are definitely not the way. The lower the negative budget, the better we're off. Okay, France is willing to accept peace. The French coast is mine. Okay, I guess we'll go for Wallonia next. It says France is likely to intervene here, but I don't care, we can deal with France. They can't stop us. Yeah, okay, everyone joined against us pretty much, but it's fine. We don't care about these people. So apparently we're running an ammo shortage. We should probably build some ammunition factories to fix that. That would probably be good. Alright, now Wallonia is one of our states. Very nice expansion. Kind of conquering into Germany right now while we sort of are waiting on our truce with Russia. That's kind of big thing right now. 14 months left. I think we're going to try to go against Ukraine unless it shows that Russia's going to split them, which it probably will, in which case we're just going to have to conquer all the states we can from Russia. And over the course of a couple of wars, we'll make it into, like, Central Asia and stuff, and then we can finally stop just having be bottlenecked by Russia, and we can do a lot of expansion to hopefully hit our 100 state mark. So far, we're at 30 states. Okay, I guess we'll go for Gelre next, because that's going to be the state we need from the Netherlands. I suppose we should conquer Luxembourg. It's not necessary, but cleaner borders. So yeah, it must be taken because cleaner borders are better, or not because the Netherlands just backs down, I guess. Okay. So apparently somehow the reaction managed to start civil warring, even though it's not at 5% support. I guess it went up for a second, but we can simply prevent this by passing national supremacy for a second. We should just cancel the revolution and then unpassing it. It looks like Russia actually doesn't have any interests in Ukraine, but we actually need to damage relations with Ukraine, I realized. So we're going to do that real quick. And once we get below 20 with Ukraine, we are going to invade them and take all their non-coastal states. Okay, and now we can go ahead and invade Ukraine. And yeah, Russia doesn't have an interest, so should be pretty good. Conquer Kharkiv, conquer Kiev, and what's the other one? Chernihiv, primary all these. And then just mobilize this army, and that should be plenty. Guess we'll give it a 4th general so it can push a little bit faster. The Ottomans have decided to side against us, but it's not going to be too much of a problem, I'm pretty sure. Okay, yep, there we go. Enforcing on Ukraine. That gives us now the ability to put interest in Russia and the Caucasus. Now, I think we'll declare on Russia for liberate Belarus. That should be a pretty decent primary war goal. Then I guess we'll add in conquer Vilnia, and then we're gonna wait till we get our interest in Russia to add the rest, where we're gonna go for a snake into having a border with the Urals and Central Asia, so that in the next war we can go down to here and start expanding into this stuff, because we're gonna need a lot in order to reach 100 states. We're at like 35 so far. Okay, our interest has appeared, so Kursk, let me see what the best method is going to be. Okay, looks like Kursk and Saratov border each other, so that's definitely going to be the first step, is to go Kursk into Saratov. We'll see where we need to go from there. Okay, that's actually, like, as far as we need to go, so maybe after that we can start doing some conquers on Austria or whatever. We could actually probably just want to do some more conquers on Russia. So, yeah, we'll conquer some various things from Russia. Maybe we try to connect to there. So like take the Scott. Oh wait, we actually need to connect, right? That was a thing. Uh-oh. That's actually gonna be difficult. Is that even possible? It's not, is it? Uh-oh. We've bricked ourselves the challenge of having everything connected, haven't we? We're trying to not enforce that. Okay. What do we want to go for? I decided for going Ryazan into Moscow, and then I guess we'll primary conquer Vilnia, make them a bit less likely to back down. Sardinia Piedmont is trying to unify Italy against Austria. Nice. Okay, we finally basically won the war against Russia. We need to make sure we don't enforce Russian South Livonia, so let's do that real quick. And very nice. Yep, we're barely connected here. Make sure the market screen, yep, it's all connected. Well, Austria is definitely winning against Sardinia Piedmont, so we're gonna attack Sardinia Piedmont ourselves as well. We can actually let them accept. We just want Savoy. We'll see if they accept. They don't. Okay. Yeah, we're gonna try to take Savoy from them. That's our rightful land. We're up to 40. I guess we'll go conquering Hanover, because this is a nice split state where it's not coastal, but it is a coastal if it was a full state, so we want to conquer it before. so the state somehow unifies or whatever. I guess we'll also take Hanoverian and Brunswick. We don't want Hanover though, because that does have a coast. Okay, we can conquer Savoy. Nice. I'm gonna declare oh, but this is gonna likely have them backing down. Oh wow, that's a big revolt in Austria. Huge. It's a minor power. Very interesting. Hmm. I don't really want to attack Romania because it's gonna likely back down is the problem, you know. I want to get another war with Russia, but I think we just gotta wait for the truce to do that. Yeah, 3 years left on the truce. Yeah, we should put our interests over here, more in the east. Virginia Piedmont actually might be able to win their unification war because they now have the war goals unbricked by the anti-bricking stuff. Also, England has landed in our country because they got Hanover as a subject. France just casually owning Manchuria and Korea. France is truly doing the Japanese Empire. So somehow the reaction movement disappeared and then recreated itself like instantly. I don't know what happened, but it's just back with like 11% support, which is pretty unfortunate. We're gonna try to suppress it. Where's our authority gone? I don't know. But if we raise gov wages, we should have enough. We've got barely enough to suppress the reactionary movement here, and that should be good. And we're also going to try to pass something that they like, which will hopefully boost their activism, yeah, to 71 or whatever, so they stop civil warring us, so we can make a more legitimate government again. I think that our truce with Russia is about to run out. Yeah, it has run out. Okay. I don't know why I didn't realize we can just go through the Caucasus to reach Persia. I was probably just thinking about because for a while I was considering not going through these lakes, but then I realized there's tiny lakes here and stuff, so we're just ignoring anything that calls itself a lake. And so we're gonna go for Astrakhan as our primary war goal, and just go south through Kalmykia and stuff till we make it to Baku or whatever. Okay, I built the connection down to Baku here, pretty good. So now we're just gonna add various war goals, I guess Russian cars, Armenia, Elizabethopol. Go for the states that are fairly low cost in terms of maneuvers. We do want to make sure that they don't back down, so I guess we'll just like primary all this pretty much, and this should just be pretty decent. I guess we can add like one more or something. Um, what should we take here? Is there anything that we can take really? There's got to be something. The Russian Korsamia should be good, I think. We got Uralsk, yeah, so that will be good. Okay, we'll mobilize our 255 stack and go destroy the Russians. Bruh, the French got Beijing. I guess we'll declare another war against Belarus. You know, gotta get that full annex on Belarus. There's some nice territory there that I'd like to become a part of the Swiss Empire. Some would say that Switzerland isn't an empire, but now they are, you see. I just got compression ignition. We should turn on some of these PMs because I'm pretty sure we weren't really using too much oil. Yeah, gold we should definitely use compression ignition on. Are there any other resources that were sort of lacking? I mean, engines, I guess, is usually pretty solid use of compression ignition. So we'll go diesel engines and diesel trains, except we're now running huge oil shortages, but I'm pretty sure we've got enough oil potentials to solve this. Most of our oil potentials are in West Galicia, but I think we can get almost enough from just West Galicia. Or no, this is only 1.5 thousand. Why do we have minus 43% throughput here? What? Hartal strikes? No! The evil Hartal strikes. Let's go back to steam trains here. That'll give us a little bit of oil, I guess. I'm so confused about how Hartal strikes are happening here. We don't even own India as a subject or whatever. India isn't even a colony. Why are they getting Hartal strikes? Continuing to ensure we do not have a coastline because we cannot add interests everywhere. We'll make sure to check that again after this Russia war is over. Gonna make sure we don't ever accidentally get a coastline or whatever. Looking at the culture map mode, and Baden has managed to be turned North German because of the great amount of migration that we've sent down there. And I guess Rhineland has managed to become South German because of migration as well. We flipped Baden and Rhineland's cultures. Yeah, we've occupied the Russian capital, so they're capitulating. Pretty sure we got too many war goals to have the Russians accept us taking all of them. Yeah, they're gonna have to get minus 100 for that. But that's fine. We'll be fine with that. Oh, the reaction movement started even though it's at 4% clout because it somehow spiked for a second. I don't know why it spikes. I really have no clue what causes that, but we can just stop it by quickly passing monarchy for a second. Anyway, the Russians are about to cap. Yep, 2 days, 1 days, and there we go. the great, great Swiss snake into Persia. Got an interest in Persia now. Still can't declare interest anywhere else, so that means we're still not having a coastline. Apparently, Persia is a Russian protectorate. Dang. Okay, that's a bit of a problem. Also, by the way, our state count is up to 56. Okay, it's time to fix the border gore slightly with the war against Austria for Bohemia and just a bunch of stuff, really. Because there's so much stuff we want to take in this piece. Oh, wait, did I just say oh, that's Krakow. I see, I see. Yeah, we should make sure we're not conquering anything that has a coastline, but I don't think that's going to be too difficult. Um, yeah, Lombardy is the only Italian state, other than, I guess, South Tyrol, that doesn't have a coastline. Well, I mean, Parma is, when it's a split state, doesn't, I guess. But pretty much, that's going to be all. I think we got East Slovakia in here. Yeah, so we can take Central Hungary. Oh, we should definitely primary some of these, or else they're definitely backing down. France is going to join them, though, so surely they don't back down here. Surely they won't back down. Surely. We'll be fine. Well, it said France is going to support them, but they aren't. So that's not very good. That means Austria's probably going to capitulate. Or back down, I mean. They don't really like, I want more of their states than that. Okay, the Austrians do indeed back down, unfortunately. Well, not much we could do about that. I guess we'll go for Luxembourg. It's not going to actually give us an extra state, but it will clean up the map a little bit. And I don't think that is... I mean, I guess we can attack the Ottomans. Yeah, we'll do that next, I guess. Go through Erzurum and try to take some of the non-coastal Ottoman states. Then we can, I guess, go into Jabal Shamar or whatever, but then we're kind of stuck from there. I guess we can take some states from Egypt, maybe. Oh, we just received our first cut down to size war. Kind of surprising it took this long. I'm even surprised that they actually think they're strong enough right now. Because Russia has a truce, so I guess it's gonna be like, wait, who's even joining this? Just UK? Like, what? What? How do they think they have a chance? I don't know. We actually we have no way of enforcing that, because we don't have boats, but, we'll manage to get a white piece, I'm sure. Casual Britain owning half of South China. Not even half, more than half of South China. And they're conquering, Hunan back in this war as well. They're just gonna get, like, all of South China this game. This is ridiculous. America's going to, like, 900,000 debt per week to fund the most ridiculously sized army ever made. Look at this. They've got 30,000 army power projection. We've got only 40,000. We're not even, like, mobilizing much right now. So, it's crazy that the Americans are spending that much on their military. It's a pretty huge amount, that's for sure. Oh, there's a giant Hunanese uprising and all of Britain's Chinese stuff. I guess let's go quickly take some states from the Ottomans. Conquer Erzurum. Conquer Ankara. There's not that many states they have that we can actually conquer. I think it's just these three. Diyarbakir, Ankara, and Erzurum that are landlocked and in the Anatolia strategic region, because we can't do the Arabia strategic region. We simply don't have anything bordering that quite yet. Okay, we'll do this as our peace deal. And I guess we'll mobilize or we'll put the 166 stack there, and we'll mobilize a 41 stack to continue defending against naval invasions, because we do want to make sure that the Americans cannot land us. Oh, America offers us a white piece. We'll take it. Apparently there's a general strike in our country. I was not paying enough attention, clearly, because I didn't even realize this was happening. Apparently it's been happening for, like, forever. When does the strike run out? 4 months, apparently. In that state, at least. Yeah, it looks like it's 4 months everywhere. Okay. Okay, Ottoman War reparations and the 3 states from the Ottomans. Start incorporating these as well. Very nice. We're up to 61 total states now, I think. Okay, our truce with Russia is up. I think we're going to declare for Liberate Persia, because that's going to be pretty useful. And then we're going to also just add a bunch of war goals against whatever is fairly cheap to conquer, mostly focusing on getting to Bukhara first, or Uzbekia, because if we can get into here, well, we actually want to get into Russian Tajikistan, but then we can invade Kunduz from there, get into Kabul, Kalat, Chitral, Tibet, whatever. You can get, like, everywhere once we get there. So we want to go for Aktobe first, and then just go through that whole line there. Alright, I'm going to make these primary, because these are the things that I really care about, and then we'll just add a bunch of other stuff that we don't care about too much as non-primary, so like Russian South Livonia we can take, and just a bunch of stuff that borders whatever we have, I guess. Yeah, we can get that. That'll border something we're getting. And yeah, I think that's all of our maneuvers spent. And we'll mobilize for war with Russia real quick. The 41 stack can go down here, I guess. 30. Wait, what? Persia sided with us. How dare they? They're literally bricking my war goal. No, evil Persia. Okay, we can make peace with Russia. I'm surprised they're willing to accept already. Oh, they've got a lot of loans. Yeah, they're in 36 million debt. Well, wait, Swiss expansion yet again. Get South Livonia. Okay, so that's renamed to Riga because I guess we have a German culture, or maybe that's what it's called when you're not Russian. I don't know. Anyway, now most importantly, we've got a border with the Central Asians, and we got a bunch more states. I wonder how many states we're up to in total now. We're up to 49 plus 19. That is going to be, what is that going to be? It's going to be 68, I believe. That's pretty good. So I guess let's go annex Kokand. The border gore on this game is truly the worst border gore in the history of border gore. This is so bad, but you know, it had to be done. The achievement, you know, we need 100 states and we don't have that yet, so more border gore must be committed against the world. Okay, truce with Austria is up, so I guess we're gonna go for a war with them. I think we've got two big goals here. One, we want to take northern Transylvania so that we can take states from Romania in future wars. And then two, we want to take everything we can for the formation of Central Europe, because I think after we get our 100 states, I want to try to do some Central Europe formation stuff. Also, we'll take Lombardy. We don't want to have too many unprimary war goals. Something like this, and then I guess in primary one more. Yeah, okay. This is fine. It's not quite all of our war goals that we'd like. We'd want one more for all of Central Europe, but it will be enough. Okay, Austria has been wrecked, and these borders look terrible. But you know, we're getting closer to forming Central Europe. We're up to 30 out of 35 states, which is pretty good. We can get two more from Austria like this, and then I think we are gonna have to get some more stuff in order to form Central Europe. This idea for forming Central Europe is we're gonna need to give the coast to an unrecognized country in order to not annex the coast when we form it, but that's gonna be for a little bit later. For now, we're gonna invade Romania. Oh, Russia's gonna support them? Alright, that's gonna be nice if Russia does end up actually supporting them. But assuming they don't, we are just gonna be annexing Romania here. Oh, America wants to cut us down to sides again. Okay, Russia supports these guys, so we're going to be adding some more war goals against Russia. We'll try to fix the borders a little bit, I guess. So Tambov is definitely going to be needed to fix the borders, as well as Tula. Those are like the most egregious states by far. We can't take Rostov. That would be nice for fixing the borders, but that is a coastal state. But taking these two will help us out a little bit. I guess Smolensk is going to be next best. And then maybe we start going for like the stuff in the Caucasus. I don't know. Smolensk is definitely going to be useful though. What's going to be next best for fixing the border gore? Yeah, we'll just go Yaroslavl. I think it's a decent state. It's not going to make the border gore too much worse, and once we can take like these two states, it'll make it a little bit better, I think. No, the French have sided against us in the America War. The French are actually like the one power that it's kind of annoying if they join against us because France actually has a border. Yeah, not much we can do about that. Where's the America War here? There it is. Let's add Liberate Occitania as a war goal, I guess. Maybe we go send our big army over to France real quick just to go demolish them, and then we'll just keep some defenders against Russia while we push into Romania, and then our big army will actually be on Russia after that. Okay, make peace here with Russia for our nice states. Very nice. I think we're at 81 states now. Let's go! Okay, I guess we'll go for an annexation on Kunduz next. You know, you gotta be annexed, unfortunately. Yeah, it's just unfortunately how it has to be. Your land has to become a part of my land. I guess we'll primary, because there's not really a downside. Unfortunately, we keep spawning reaction movement. Oh, it's gotten up to 5% support? No, it just magically went up to 5%. Okay. We've got no clue why it just sometimes randomly goes up to 5%. It doesn't really make sense. But it just does happen for some reason. And then, like, next week it's going to go back down to 2% or whatever. I have no clue what causes this. Yeah, it's back down to 3%. I think it seems like it just happens anytime we conquer land. So it's pretty strange. Generally, we just pass national supremacy, and then it'll just go away. It's a little weird, though. Some of the advantage over here suddenly went from being, like, super anti-us to being super pro-us. I wonder if the USA is, like, defaulting or something? Did Britain leave the war? I thought the USA was the majority of the power projection, but maybe Britain was a significant fraction, and I guess Britain left the war, and now everything is collapsing for them or whatever. I don't know. Okay, we can now send this peace deal of liberating Occitania. Nice. Occitania no longer a part of France, gonna make them a bit strong or a bit weaker. I'm gonna go for conquest of Serbia real quick. You know, that seems like a nice little country to take out real quick here. And then if the Ottomans join in, we can, you know, conquer the Balkans from them, like southern Serbia, Bosnia, and Skopje. Russia sides in. Will the Ottomans side in? If just Russia sides in, then we can add some more goals against Russia yet again, I guess. That seems like it'll be perfectly fine too, I guess. We'll just put some troops on the Russia front as well as the other Russia front. This Russia front will just have forever because we can't take these states. Okay, the Ottoman Empire joins. I think we'll take the Ottoman states first, and then we'll go for the Russian states. So, southern Serbia, Skopje, and Bosnia are the three states we want from the Ottomans. And then I'll take Pskov and Tver from the Russians, I guess. That seems like kind of fine. Pskov and Tver. Got maneuvers for one more, so I guess we'll take Semipolatinsk or whatever. Ottomans slowly getting pushed back. Oh, this stupid Russia. We need to mobilize some more armies to go kill Ingria. It's just this evil front splitting. Taking this stuff is actually kind of nice because it'll bring us a little bit closer to the Russian capital at the start of the war, which is always a nice little improvement. Okay, proposed peace deal. And we get some nicer borders here in the north. And we get sort of a little mini Yugoslavia in the south now. Except we're missing a lot, but you know, it's sort of a mini Yugoslavia. It's not quite, but it's kind of close. Should probably start incorporating all this newly acquired territory we've got. I think we're getting close to hitting 100 states. Yeah, we got to be hitting very close at this point. Let's take a look at our count. 56 and 36. That's going to be over 90. 92? Well, Kiva looks like a good way to add 2 to that number. Korasamia won't count because we already own part of that state, but the other two, that's going to bring us up to 94. Nice. So, I attacked Montenegro for one of the states, but Russia has joined against us, so I think this is going to be all the rest of the states we need. We just need to conquer a bunch of states from Russia here, and I think that should be enough. Yeah, I'll just conquer a bunch of those states to make somewhat clean borders, I guess. We'll see what we end up. Someone say I forgot to take Nizhny Novgorod, and they'd be correct. But you know, who needs Nizhny Novgorod for clean borders? Everyone is the answer to that question. But like, you know, it'll be fine. Bruh, Montenegro backed down to a full annex to prevent us from getting our states. No, evil Montenegro. I think the fastest 2 states to get at this point, I just took Chitral. I think the last 2 states are going to be Quetta from Kabul, and then Baluchistan from Kalat, and that's going to be all we need to get up to 100 states. Okay, Kabul has backed down. Time to go. Oh, we don't have an interest in Bombay, right? That makes some sense. But yeah, we still can't declare interest outside of bordering interests. All right, we're good. We just need one more, and that one more is going to be Kalat. Okay, the war with Baluchistan is nearly fully escalated. We're gonna have this done in just a second, and then we can start the next stage of the run, which isn't gonna take very long. But to form Central Europe without a coast is gonna be the next thing after this. Okay. Yeah, it's not going to take long to occupy Kalat, if you couldn't have guessed, because it's Kalat, and we are basically the world at this point. Not really the world, but like, we've got like a sixth of the world states. Yeah, 58 plus 42 is 100. You can see these are all of our unincorporated states, and these are all of our incorporated states. And yeah, if you didn't know, this is a good way to track how many states you have in the game. You use the show diplomacy and outliner thing for this. So now it's time to feed a ton of our country to an unrecognized power to form Central Europe, you know? So far we've got 30 out of 35 states for forming Central Europe. We have no truce with Austria. Okay, actually let's go fight Austria first. Or no, we want to get Kalmykia in here so that we can take some states here. So let's release Kalmykia. We need to find it from the list. We've got so many possible releasables. Darn you, Germany, with your infinitely releasables. Okay, there it is. Release Kalmykia as a subject. Now we're gonna feed Kalmykia states all the way over into Germany. Yeah, we're gonna do that real quick. Okay, I'm actually realizing that unless Kalmykia just declares an interest in Italy, there's nothing we can do here because yeah, we can't give it all the way over to Lombardia for an interest in Italy, which is the place where all the Central European states are, because we have to go through East Switzerland to get there, unless we conquer Tyrol, which we're going to do in the war soon, because you can't give homelands, and this is a homeland. So we're just gonna have to fight Austria real quick for the states that we want. So let's go for Tyrol and Houstonland or whatever it's called. Let's. I wish I could use my mouse correctly here. Crane. That's the other very important state. And then since we can't conquer anything for these guys that's coastal, we'll just have to conquer the non-coastal stuff real quick to clean up the borders. So let's say West Slovakia. That'll be a nice little map cleanup, and then we'll do East Galicia. That'll also be a good little map cleanup to get East Galicia, and we'll also do Austrian Moldavia, I guess. Those are some decent states to clean up the map a little bit, and then just quickly mobilize our army. Once we're done with this war, we can conquer some states from Piedmont, which should give us, I think that actually might be all the states we need. Or no, they don't. It doesn't include Rome and stuff, so that'll be 2 extra states, Piedmont and Romagna. Then we can get like 1 from France in the French Low Counties, and we'll figure out the rest from there, I guess. France got involved in this war. That's annoying, but they're guaranteeing the independence of Belgium, so this shouldn't be a big deal. We can probably just attack Belgium to get into the war with France that we're going to need later on anyway. We have, no maneuvers left, so we can't add the war goal in this war. So I've realized, after doing the math, that it's actually going to be fine. We're going to get 35 states without anything from France, because we're going to be up to 32 after this war, because we're taking these 2. Then we can take these 2 from Piedmont, we can take this from Piedmont, and this from Tuscany. And that's going to be a total of 3 states between these countries. And that's going to bring us up to a total of 35. Okay, proposed peace deal. And we get some slightly cursed borders, but Austria's a little bit fixed in terms of borders. And we now have 32 out of 35 states. So now we're going to feed Kalmykia over to South Tyrol. So we're going to give them normal Tyrol, and then South Tyrol. Tyrol is there. And then we need to give them South Tyrol. Should be, here. Okay. And now they should be getting an interest in Italy over time. Or wait, is that not? Is that actually? No, it's in Italy, so they should have an interest. Yep, they're getting an interest in Italy. All right. Bruh, the reaction movement has respawned again. I'm not at all sure what causes the reaction movement to just decide, yeah, we're respawning now. This is totally a different reaction movement now. Okay, Kalmykia's got their interest in Italy. So now we're going to declare on Virginia Piedmont for liberate Rome. And then we're going to conquer states in the name of these guys. Conquer Piedmont. Conquer, what's this one going to be called? Emilia, and then conquer, I think the other one's called Romagna. Yeah, there it is, Romagna. And primary all of these demands. And this should just be an easy win. Okay, we get a cut down to size demand from America. Unfortunate, but we'll deal with it. This time I'm going to make my war goal against America revoke claim on Panama, because that's something we can actually enforce. It looks like France might not be joining. So far, just Britain has joined. Apparently Iberia is against us in this Sardinia-Piedmont war, as well as the Ottomans. Of course, great flamethrowers and chem warfare. I mean, there's nothing the Sardinia-Piedmontians can do to defend themselves, and the Ottomans are not even trying to defend themselves. They literally have 13 troops. What are they doing? They've just decided to dedicate all their army to defending Sardinia-Piedmont for some reason. Uh-oh, Iberia and Britain have both made landing, or not landings, but I guess Britain got in through that, but yeah, they've gotten into our country, so that's not great. Could probably go deal with that a little bit. We can probably mostly we just not worry about that until we're done with this Piedmont war, though. Should probably attack Tuscany right now, just so that we can get that done with. We'll declare for investment rights, I guess. And then we'll add in as our other war goal, conquer Tuscan Emilia for Kalmykia. Apparently Russia is joining against us as well. Not great, but it's fine. Nothing could ever go wrong for me, right? Surely. Let's just propose peace deal with Piedmont, because, yeah, we definitely can't afford to be in this many wars. Let's make sure we still can't declare interest. Okay, good. Just need to make sure that I'm not messing anything up or whatever. Got this anarchist movement. Oh, we definitely don't want to actually pass net supremacy, so let's stop that. The reaction movement is still at 5, so it is going to start a civil war again, probably, but we can stop it with something else, I'm sure. We'll find a way. Okay, well, we're occupying Tuscany, so they're going to cap now. In America, we're trying to hold this front. They're not going to make it to our capital at all before they cap, because they're losing like 1.5 per week. And they're definitely not pushing very quickly, given that they're only at a 35 advantage right now. Okay, Tuscany is going to capitulate in a second, which is going to be nice. Also, once America goes negative, they're going to be willing to accept, I think, because, they'll be like, oh no, they might enforce a revoke claim on Panama on us, which is like, why would you care about that? But I will care about that for some reason. Okay, and just a little bit, we should be able to send a peace deal, because they will get, like, some huge modifier from, yep, a 162 from revoke claim on Panama is achievable. And now we just need to make, oh, Russia proposed peace in this war, okay, nice. Now we just need to give Kalmykia the Prussian states that border the coast real quick. And then we need to give Prussia back their states that don't border the coast. And really give all of the stuff to Prussia except for the stuff that's on the coast. Okay, well I've set it up so now everything is owned by Prussia except for the coast, which is owned by Kalmykia. And so we can now form Central Europe without having a coastline. And sure, we can get French culture. And now in theory, we shouldn't have a coastline. Let's just unpause, make sure. Yes, we do not have a coastline. Let's go. We've managed to form Central Europe without ever getting a coastline at all. And that's pretty cool. I mean, you can say, I guess, at all with the Caspian Sea or our subjects or whatever, but not really. Well, I guess we can look at a couple things before I end the game off. We have 599 million GDP, not reflected on the GDP line because we just annexed a bunch of states back from Kalmykia. This is our pop graph as well. I guess in the pop graph, it looks like our new stuff was included. I guess the pop graph is more quick to update or whatever. Also, if we look at the religion map mode, you can see quite a few countries ended up going atheist. We can see Sweden, Hanover, Hohenzollern, and Holland went that. Oh, wait, we could have gotten an extra state very easily from Hohenzollern. Oops, that's a little bit of a mistake. Classic Connor mistakes, but that's just how it be. Wait, what? Can we actually activate German national identity at this point in the game? What's gonna happen with that? No, it just goes away, seemingly? Yeah, it just went away. Well, that would've been cool if we could have German national identity just triggered because we formed Central Europe, but we weren't able to have that happen. Anyway, I think this is ending off the video, so goodbye.